Sup, you chuckle fucks? It's your boy Dark Raku here with What If Issei become the Dragon Monarch Part 6. Part 6. So, mostly I just realized this, that I do remember saying that I wanted to finish this on Part 5, but I can't. So, I might just try to finish it on Part 10. Maybe, if I can. Maybe I tried to finish it probably lower level, but not the point. This is part 6 of this What If. I didn't rewatch what's it called Part 5 because, well, I had to go do stuff, and mostly I just remember what I did on Part 5 because, well, mostly I didn't do that much stuff, but yeah, I did, but not the point. Let me begin this What If. Let me shut the fuck up and let me begin where I last left off. We go into mostly Issei. Issei. Now, Issei is actually walking around the town. He doesn't really care in what he does. He looks completely different. No one will actually know who he is unless it's the devils like Sona Sifri's, what's it called, like Barrage, or even what's it called, Sona herself, or it could be like the four Satans who knows how he now looks like, but it won't be anyone else. Probably the fallen angels would know a little bit about him, but then again, unless it's the Greek gods, they would not really know who exactly he is. So not many humans would know this is Issei. Well, yeah, I mean there's some, but not many. Of course, Issei is walking around until, well, he keeps like walking around and just looking around until he recognizes a familiar person, a very, very familiar person, and of course, Issei looks, well, emotionless. He doesn't care too much. Why? Because this person is none other than Irina Shibu, or whatever her goddamn last name is. I keep forgetting. I don't care that much. But she's not alone. She's actually with this blue-haired boy with mostly like this orangey eyes. This is what, well, they are both arm to arm and hugging each other, and of course being like lovely couple. Which Issei realized this little fucking angel is nothing but a bitch. So yeah. I mean, he already knew she was a bitch from the whole beginning because, well, she's nothing but a slut, and also her fucking friends, well, the Parage members, are nothing but just sluts. He doesn't care too much, but he might just murder them right now. But this work, well, he then refrained himself from actually murdering this dumbass and her. This work, well, he decides to ask for one of his evil dragons, one of his new, mostly his his 5 evil dragons, to see if who is actually okay to murder this person. Mostly one of the evil dragons, it wasn't the guy with Prime Crutch or even Viltra, it was another evil dragon user. This person's name is, so this person has the sacred gear of an evil dragon named Apophis. Now his name is actually Zangetsu. Mostly, yeah, Zangetsu because, well, yeah. Of course, well, he's actually appear right in front of Issei. He has kind of like, well, he doesn't have whitish hair. Well, he does. He kind of has like a grayish, whitish kind of tint of hair. Of course, well, he's actually one of the members who is quite strong and quite evil. But of course, with his evil dragon, who's named Apophis, the Eclipse evil dragon, he has it where he's quite powerful. He's actually 3rd ranked from mostly the user of Crom Crutch and the user of Viltra. But yeah, mostly Zangetsu kind of just looks at Issei. This is where, well, he actually has yellow eyes, mostly these yellowish, goldenish eyes, and of course, it's mostly the white in his eyes are actually black. This is where, well, he just says, so, what do you want? He just says, you see those 2 lovely couples right there in front? Yeah? Well, when they get to the park, I'm about to seal it off. You can go wild. Wait, really? Who are they? Wait, no. I know the orange hair girl. Her name is Irina Shibu, or whatever her name again is. Yes, the blue hair. The blue hair is named. I remember now. His name is Azul. This is where, well, he says that Azul. Interesting, quite interesting. Do you know any background with him? He used to be one of the greatest sport masters in, well, mostly the school. He was a kind of, yeah, sport maniac. He was pretty good at sports and other things. He was pretty also good at being on the track team. I see. What else was he good at? He wasn't good at candles, so swords and other shit was not working for him. I see. So, do you know anything else? Yes, he is in the same school. Mostly he is a, what's it called, third year, just like Irina is. So, they'll graduate next year, but yeah. He says, I see. Okay. Good to know. We'll go wild then. I don't care what you do to them. Just don't kill them. Make them feel despair. Make them feel like they aren't nothing to you. Okay? Doesn't work well? Someone gets to nod and says, well, with pleasure then. Doesn't work well? Mostly when Irina and Azul kind of gets towards, well, the park, this is where they feel a powerful barrier right now surround them in an instant. They feel like they're in a different dimension entirely because it feels like they're upside down. Which when they look up, they see the park, but they're right now on the park. So yeah, this is where, well, it's mostly a dimension that Issei created just for Zangetsu to fight. But when they look up again, they see none other than Zangetsu. Mostly Azul knows who Zangetsu is. He's actually pretty good at using swords because Zangetsu was someone who actually can fight against the Kendo Club with ease, and they can never defeat him ever. And this is where, well, mostly Zangetsu looks down at mostly the puny humans. Well, not puny humans. One puny human, one incarnation angel. He knows about the incarnation angel thanks to Issei telling him what she's about. This is where, well, they're pretty much nothing to him at all. This is where, well, he then kind of talks to his sacred gear, which his sacred gear is basically a, so this is where, well, mostly his sacred gear is not a gauntlet or some wings, but instead it's actually a sword. That's right now with him. This is where, well, a huge sword. I suppose this is actually like a crescent kind of sword. It kind of looks like a moon a little bit, but not the point. Kind of black to be like that, the eclipse, but it still has a little bit of shine like the moon. Does it work well? Mostly, the sacred, well, it's not a sword. Well, it is a sword, but it can be a moon, somewhere crescent moon, but not the point. Doesn't work well. It can be more like it can turn into a sword, a spear, and even a scythe. Doesn't work well. Mostly that's what the sacred gear is. Doesn't work well. Mostly, some guys just say, well, apostles, it's time to fight them. Fight these weaklings. Doesn't work well. Mostly apostles nod and says, let's do this. Show them what a true evil dragon is about. Show them what true darkness is about. This is where, well, Zangetsu smiles and says, yeah, let's do this. This is where, well, mostly Zangetsu right now kind of crashes the mostly ground underneath him, even though it's upside down, and launches himself up, which is mostly down. This is where, well, mostly both of the two members, mostly Azul and even Irina, manage to jump away. The ground crushes onto, thanks to Zangetsu getting there. This is where Zangetsu right now uses his sword, mostly it turned into a sword, mostly the weapon itself, turned into a sword and tries to cut down Irina. Irina winds her eyes and right now summon out a sword, a light sword. But this is where the light sword clashes with the crescent moon eclipse sword, and this is where, well, it's mostly called crescent moon eclipse sword. And this is where, well, mostly Zangetsu says, turn into darkness. This is where the sword of light right now just turns into nothing but darkness, destroying in an instant, evaporating it, crushing it. This is where, well, mostly Irina winds her eyes. She tries to jump away from mostly Zangetsu, but Zangetsu kicked her in the stomach, launching her across mostly the field. This is where, well, Azul right now appears two blue gauntlets, mostly in both of his hands. It seems he does have a sacred gear. This is where, well, mostly Azul right now appears with two blue gauntlets. They have blue gems, they're like a bluish kind of gem color, like a turquoise color, and rushes at, well, Zangetsu, trying to punch him. When he sends a very powerful punch, it's like made out of water and trying to punch at, well, Zangetsu. Zangetsu, well, puts the sword right in front of him, just stabs the ground and says, dark water. This is where, well, he then says primordial water. This is where water right now crashes upon, well, mostly Azul. Azul tried to send a very powerful water attack from his fist, but then it just got blocked in an instant. And then water, when it went up, it just went back down to crash upon, well, Azul. This is where, well, mostly Zangetsu says pathetic. This is where, well, Irina tries to attack him again, which mostly Zangetsu dodges to the right in an instant because of the sword of light. Mostly it wasn't a sword, this time it was a spear, which mostly Zangetsu right now grins and just says, Apollonius. This is where Apollonius nodded and tried to transform the sword into a spear. This is where both of them start clashing. But this time, again, Zangetsu right now destroys the light spear by turning it into darkness and just destroying the light. This is where, well, the light isn't so potent. I mean, it is for mostly angels. They have holy light spears, but it's mostly like made out of holy energy, not made out of pure light. If it was made out of pure light, it would have been divine energy. But this is just a false version from the, well, Bible God. This is where, well, mostly Zangetsu is pathetic. This is where he kicks Irene in the stomach so hard. Mostly just, when I've kicked her, this time just knees her in the stomach so hard. Of course, lifting her up a little bit up in the air, but reacting super fast and smashing a powerful elbow into her back. Right now, smashing her down to the ground. She just coughed up blood. She can't react fast enough from mostly. She couldn't react faster than the powerful blows from mostly Zangetsu himself. Zangetsu is pathetic. This is where, well, Zangetsu then kicks, well, mostly, when Irina was trying to get back up, he just kicks her in the side of the face and right now smashing her into a tree. She's knocked out for the count. Zangetsu is pathetic. I didn't even need to kill you. You're just going to be so pathetic like that. Damn. You people are nothing but weaklings. Now, Irina's actually mostly a 4-pair fallen angel. Mostly she has 4 wings entirely. She does have 2, but yeah, not the point. So 2 pairs. So yeah, that'd be 4 wings. And this is where, well, mostly she still wasn't even a match for mostly Zangetsu. And Zangetsu isn't even using the full power of Apollonius. If he was, he would have turned this place into nothing but the abyss. Nothing but true, pure more darkness. This is where, well, he's looking at, well, mostly Azul. Azul is right now in an angry berserk state because mostly Irina was hurt. This is where he says, I'm going to show you who you're messing with, Zangetsu. Zangetsu grins and says, oh, I thought you were gonna be an idiot and not know what my name is. So Azul, bring it on. Show me what you have. Show me if you're stronger than me. This is where, well, Azul right now rushes as Zangetsu says, die! This is where Zangetsu says, pathetic. This is where both of them are rushing at each other, but this is where, mostly before they were about to clash. Before both of them were about to clash. Wait. Sorry about that. Mostly I had something in my mouth and I just had to spit it out. But not the point. Mostly, before they even clash and actually crash into each other, mostly Zangetsu right now kicks the leg of, what's it called, mostly Azul. Azul right now widened his eyes. He felt his leg right now like bend to the wrong side. And when he looked back up, he sees Zangetsu grinning, having the sword right now in front of him. But this time he could have easily went for, well, mostly not Zangetsu, Azul's neck, Azul's neck. But instead of going for his neck, he went for his chest and did a huge, deep gash into his chest. Azul could not react fast enough towards Zangetsu's slash. Zangetsu says, pathetic. Let me show you a technique that I have learned for a while. Even though I can't kill you, I will just torture you to the very end. This is where, well, Zangetsu right now puts his sword to the other side to actually give him another huge slash, but this time saying, Getsuga Tencho. This is where, well, a red, but mostly with a black but reddish energy. Mostly he was using a bit of Apollonius kind of darkness, and this is where, well, he swings the slash down, and this time he gave another huge slash, but from the other side of the chest. From his like shoulder towards his chest, and just giving another huge ass slash towards the car. Azul. This is where Azul right now cough up more blood and right now launches into a tree, smashing into it. Smashing into like a couple. Just smashing into like 5 trees in total. This is where, well, he's down for the count. This is where Zangetsu say pathetic. This is where he noticed Irina waking up after a while. Irina noticed the mass destruction on her kind of boyfriend just got defeated. He isn't dead, but mostly she noticed that this person is quite dangerous. She also felt the powerful energy of an evil dragon within him. She never expected that evil dragons can become sacred gears, which made her fearful. Like, who is the person making these evil dragons? She has heard of mostly not other people. Mostly this is the first time of hearing anyone with a sacred gear for an evil dragon. But this evil dragon sacred gear user is actually using a sword. And this sword seems to be able to transform into a sword and a spear. This is where, well, before she can even react, mostly, what's it called? Zangetsu says, Apollio, can you please transform into this, what's it called? Scythe now? This is where I transform into a crescent kind of moon scythe. And this is where, well, mostly, Apollio says, you know, you can't kill her. I know, but at least I want to hurt her so bad. Let me at least cut off those wings of hers. This is where Apollio nodded and says, well, you can do whatever. I think he just said not to kill them, just torture them to the very brutal end. Well, it seems that he just gave us some very interesting ways to torture people. And the very best way to torture an angel, wouldn't it be just to cut off their wings? Apollio smiled and says, yep. Just bring them down to despair. How to destroy an angel's pride would destroy their wings. So let's see if she is interesting. This is where, well, mostly Irina summoned out her 4 wings, who actually tried to fly to her boyfriend and tried to grab him and tried to escape from this barrier. And this is where, well, mostly Apollio says, so she's only a 4-winged, well, mostly a 4-winged angel. She's quite pathetic. Yes, destroy her wings now. And destroy her back also. If you cut her back, her wings will never be able to reform. That means her power will literally be decreased into nothing. This is where, well, mostly Zangetsu says, understood. This is where, well, before Irina can even fly and burst the speed with all the multi-holy energy and flight that she can take, this is where, well, her wings were cut off in an instant. This is where Zangetsu appears saying, Getsuga. Mostly he says, Getsuga. Crescent slashes. This is where, well, mostly he swings his scythe once. When I went once, he swings it like 4 times, cutting off the wings of Irina, which Irina screams in pain. But before even doing anything, Zangetsu appears right behind her, and this is where, well, he then sends multiple slashes right now down to her back, right now cutting off any, well, mostly any chance to even get any more wings. Right now destroying her back and using a bit of darkness to destroy any holy light that would try to repair her back to be able to reform any, well, wings ever again. So she would be only an angel, but without the wing part. So ironic, somewhat. Mostly, not ironic, but mostly she would be a wingless angel. This is where, well, mostly Zangetsu can actually admit that that would be actually fitting for her. Instead of being a fallen angel, she can be a wingless angel. An angel that has no wings. Which is quite fitting for her, because she's nothing but a whore. So, of course, well, mostly Zangetsu can now just walks away. Of course, they'll step on Irina's back in an instant saying, pathetic. Well, I thought an angel like you from the DXDA group will be strong, but you're just pathetic. I can't believe you betrayed the Red Dragon Emperor just for a pathetic, well, blue fucker over there. Whatever. This is where, well, mostly Irina does not know who exactly Zangetsu is. Only Azul knows who he is because he met again. Well, he did kind of met Zangetsu sometimes. He tried to befriend Zangetsu, but Zangetsu never liked him at all. He thought that this guy was too much of like a jock, annoyment, and kind of like a bully somewhat half the time. He didn't like him at all because he always did try to treat well someone like Zangetsu's best friend, who's actually now 2nd rank strongest, but not as strongest as mostly, what did I call the other guy? Fuck, I can't remember what I called him. I'll remember later. But mostly, the 2nd strongest is actually named, what's it called? So, I'm gonna just call the first guy named Kito, that's his actually last name. While the first dude is actually, well, yeah, that's the first dude's name, last name. But yeah, his second name, well, not second name, his first name, I forgot what I call him. But not the point, I'll remember later. But of course, mostly the second dude who actually has Viltra Sacred Gear, his name is Murasaki. This is where, well, Murasaki is actually someone who was always shy in the group and always scared. So, of course, he never really wanted to fight anyone. But now that he actually got his girlfriend cheated on, thanks to none other than Sanji, he hates every person who literally would think to betray him. He basically has the similar feelings of that of the leader, who is actually the Dragon King of all dragons, who basically got cheated on by all his girlfriends, and now he's considered to be the strongest and have a harem of his own. Which mostly, Zangetsu is trying to find the perfect girl for himself, not someone in the school, but just someone that's pretty good, who's actually super good at using swords and other weapons. That's where, well, he has a couple in mind, but not much. Not really, not much. But this is where, well, he doesn't care too much, and this is where he's walking away. He destroys the barrier in an instant. This is where, well, the barrier disappears after a while. He decides to use a bit of his energy just so he can make the angels right now look for this energy signature, so he can show Michael that basically Irina was hurt so bad that she will never be able to use her mostly wings ever again. Mostly Issei does not care about starting a war with the three factions. If he has to, he will destroy them at once. He doesn't care. This is where, well, the only revenge he's ever trying to seek for is actually the people who betray him. If the factions decide to get involved, he will not care and eliminate them all. He is not the pillar of the, factions. He is himself. He is not the one to hold the factions up. No longer. He's the one to do anything because no one will stop him. Who will stop him? None of the rulers will actually try to stop him because, well, he defeated the rulers already a while ago, mostly with dungeon, but not the point. That's why, well, the rulers cannot go towards him to bother him ever again because, well, mostly Issei does have, mostly he does have, well, the, the Holy Grail. So, of course, even if the rulers, if one of them survive, they can't use it to right now reset time because Issei refused to reset time to let anyone destroy his plans. He will get revenge. He will not get a false hope of revenge. He is petty like that. He's a dragon, so of course he's going to be kind of petty. But yeah, but not the point. We go into mostly Sangetsu walking away. Of course, he transformed mostly Apollo's sacred gear back into a sword, but this time just transformed it into a darkness cloak around him. So yeah, mostly the sacred gear can become a darkness cloak, a weapon like a sword, spear, or scythe, and of course mostly it can use darkness abilities, mostly from this opposed evil dragon, who is actually called the Eclipse Evil Dragon or whatever. This is where, well, mostly he can use darkness manipulation. That's what he's using for mostly the cloak now. It's now mostly kind of like a cloak, but yeah. But of course, this is where, well, he can also use primary water, and also, well, he can also use something called dark field barriers. But of course, those are just some other things. But this is where, well, I'll mention all the other abilities because, yeah. But this is where, well, he's just walking away now. He is going back towards, well, to meet up with the others to see if they have been called or have been doing some other mission. He knows that mostly Murasaki is right now kind of dealing with some of, well, mostly some people. He did get called upon one of the ancient dragons to see if he will be enough to fight against these people. He doesn't know what he's doing. But we go into Murasaki's POV. Murasaki is right now in front of, well, mostly Zenovia and her kind of boyfriend. Zenovia's boyfriend is basically a, well, mostly orange hair version of mostly Azul, because this guy is actually the twin brother of Azul. His name is, well, this person's name is Arenji, mostly, yeah, or not Arenji, mostly Arenji, but of course, where, well, he has kind of orange hair. He looks a little bit like Renji from Bleach, but not the point. This is where, well, this guy is also quite cocky like Azul, and has always tried to bully mostly Murasaki. This is where, well, because they see that Murasaki is quite, like, very scared, nervous, and doesn't literally like talking to anyone unless it's actually like 6 friends, because he has, well, not 6 friends, 5 other friends. So there's 5 evil dragons, but there are actually 6 evil dragons. Consider him, but not the point. But this part, well, mostly Murasaki is right now kind of seeing both Zenovia and even, well, Renji. Renji kind of just looks at mostly Murasaki and says, "What do you want, Murasaki?" This is where a barrier already appears thanks to the ancient dragon making it there, just so none of the devils will get involved. This is where, well, Murasaki says, "What do I want?" Mostly Murasaki right now lifted his mostly hair up from his eyes. He has darkish purple hair now, mostly thanks to Veltra kind of changing it a little bit, because Murasaki wanted darker purple hair instead of having a lightish purple hair tinted color. Well, I mean, still he has a bit of purple hair, a little bit lightish purple, but he wanted darker purple hair, similar to that Viltra's scales. This is where, well, mostly Murasaki's eyes are now completely different. One eye is actually that of mostly a sacred, well, mostly Viltra's eyes, while the other one is actually one that he asked Viltra if he can change it to. He no longer has mostly a pale, well, mostly a palish bluish eyes, because sometimes he had palish bluish eyes, and that's why he was always nervous around people. He always had his long hair bangs to cover up his eyes, but this time he's just showing it off. One is actually the eyes of Viltra, while the other one is permanently the eyes of Viltra now, mostly that right eye, while the left eye is actually mostly an amethyst, a very dark but shiny crystallized amethyst eye, and of course around it is actually black. This is where, well, mostly Motorcycle says, "Oh, don't worry, what I want to destroy both of you. I'll make sure that both of you feel despair and nothing else." This is where Renji gets on guard. He pulls out a sword out of nowhere because that's his sacred gear. While mostly mostly Zenobia right now pulls out Durantaunt. This is where, well, both of them are on guard against, well, mostly Murasaki. Murasaki laughs and says, "You think you can defeat me? You pathetic weaklings won't be able to hurt me at all. I'll show you my power." This is why I'm considered to be the second strongest evilest dragon now. Viltra. This is where Viltra's sacred gear appears, but this time, instead of appearing with just one gauntlet similar to that of like Sanji's, it appears with two black gauntlets. This is where, well, they actually have tentacles around it. This is where, well, mostly he changed the gauntlets just to fit his kind of use, or fit his kind of like needs. So of course the gauntlets can actually transform into whatever he needs it to be. They're actually black, purplish, but they look kind of obsidian, but kind of purplish amethyst with it. So that's what it kind of looks like. This is where, well, he changed both of them into a blade, like spikes appearing to be like blades. And this is where, well, mostly he did ask Viltra to kind of make him a mask so he can just look like Shredder from fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not the point. But of course, this is where, well, he then, instead of like, well, he didn't actually put them into swords just yet. He actually put them into like claws, similar to that of Shredder from Teenage Mutant Turtles. And this is where, well, he doesn't have a helmet because he doesn't need one, because he doesn't care about helmets that much. But this is where, well, mostly he then rushes at what's it called, the two kind of, well, mostly devils, because one is actually a devil incarnation. I mean, both of them are, but of course one has Durantaunt and the other one has a sword. This is where, well, right now Renji swings his sword towards what's it called, Matsuri, but Matsuri managed to catch the blade. Well, mostly not catch it, but block it with his like claws from one of his gauntlets. Just block it in an instant. This is where, well, Zenobia tries to swing her sword, but of course it was too slow. And this is where, well, Matsuri had enough time to just kind of kick her to the side of the stomach, back kick her into the side of the stomach, mostly using his back leg to kick her. Send her to a tree. This is where, well, mostly Renji gets angry and tries to send a stab straight towards the car. Mostly Mitsuri. Mitsuri uses both his claws to kind of make a kind of like, well, mostly net. And of course managed to block the sword. But this is where, well, he started kind of like twisting his hands and of course pushing his hands together to actually try to crush the sword entirely, trying to break it. Which mostly Renji notices and realizes that shit, his sword is about to break in an instant if he doesn't do anything. This is where, well, mostly Renji says, "No you don't. Shikai release." This is where, well, he screams out, well, mostly. This is where, well, he says Samamaru. This is where, well, he transforms his sword in an instant to look like that of mostly the one that Renji has in Bleach. So yeah, this guy kind of looks like that. But with kind of orange hair, but with some red stripes, but yeah. This is where, well, mostly he then swings his sword down, and of course the sword extends to try to cut at mostly, what they call, Matsuri. Matsuri still managed to catch the blade, one of the blades from the top of the blade, mostly that huge blade, because you know how there's a huge blade, then it kind of goes down to kind of looking smaller, but yeah. But this is where, well, he catch a bigger blade, and this is where, well, he started kind of using his strength alone and starting to try to crush the blade, which he managed to crush the blade and snap it off. This is where Renji growls at what's it called, mostly Matsuri. Matsuri throws the blade fragment that he has in his hand straight to Renji. Renji tries to use his sword to try to block it, but it wasn't aiming for his chest or any of that. It was aiming for his left shoulder in an instant. So of course it stabbed into his left shoulder in an instant. Renji right now grit his teeth in an instant, growling at Matsuri. Matsuri was laughing at him, saying pathetic. This is where, well, mostly Viltra says, "Behind you, Matsuri." This is where, well, mostly Matsuri right now turns around, dodges a attack from mostly Zenobia, and this is where, well, mostly he then sends a powerful punch, still with the claws with him, mostly kind of just looks like Wolverine claws, but not the point. He then swings his punch a very powerful dent, a very destructive punch into Zenobia's gut, but this is where he sends a bit of cursed energy. Mostly he makes a cursed spell upon mostly Zenobia. Zenobia was confused, but this is where everything turned black. Basically, it's similar to that of the Sharingan. What he did is what mostly mostly Itachi does to mostly anyone that he usually meets, like what's it called? Mostly he turns them, well, he kind of puts a genjutsu over them, kind of like darkness or anything that, and making them relive their past lives. But yeah, this is what, well, mostly what Matsuri did is basically gave what's it called, Zenobia a curse to relive the past life of mostly all the pain that she kind of endured from an attack from, well, mostly not, well, not, no. What he did is basically gave her a curse to, well, be kind of, well, by none other than, what's it called, Kokubel, because she was kind of worthless fighting against Kokubel. So of course, basically, what mostly Matsuri was doing was basically making sure that she's useless and brain dead, because she didn't really have a brain too much. So yeah, this is where, well, mostly Matsuri then dodged an attack from, well, Renji again, because he swings his sword now straight towards him. This is where, well, he then tries to attack Matsuri again. Matsuri says, pathetic. He then transformed one of his right hand from claws to an actual sword, like a spike sword, and rushes straight towards, well, Renji. Renji right now sends his sword right in front of him, but this is where, well, the purplish kind of blade right now turns into a shield, blocking it. Then he transformed his left hand into a sword, a spike, and stabbing it into Renji. Renji coughed up some blood, and this is where before he can even do anything, we'll see what Matsuri did is twist his sword to the side just to kind of be able to cut cleanly to the side of mostly Renji's mostly chest before kicking him in the stomach, or kicking him right in the stomach, but then slashing him. This is where Renji coughed up even more blood. And mostly that sword did manage to puncture one of his lungs, and of course Machu also cut it. This is where mostly Matsuri was grinning like a madman, saying, "You people can't do shit to me." While mostly Zenobia is right now becoming brain dead, Renji right now had to use his trap card. This is where, well, he then says balance breaker. What he did is basically transform his sword into mostly, not balance breaker, he mostly, it was already in balance breaker, but it's kind of like a juggernaut drive somewhat, but not entirely. It is, well, it's not balance breaker. Mostly that sword, it was actually in his second base form, or not second, its first kind of form, but in its kind of like first two forms, not the sword, regular sword, but now it's the second base form, and of course it's a giant kind of like serpent snake. He sent a very powerful blast straight towards Matsuri, but Matsuri uses his own very powerful purplish blast from his mouth, because he's actually considered to be an evil dragon entirely now. And this is where, well, because he converted some of his body into like dragon parts, mostly especially his chest. That's why he doesn't need armor. He doesn't use a balance breaker, because mostly his body is not strong as a dragon. He sent a very powerful blast from his mouth. He like opens the kind of mask now. He just tells us to call mostly Viltra to down the mask down, and this is where it does. Mostly the gauntlet disappears. Well, not gauntlet, mostly the mask. And this is where he sent a very powerful blast from his mouth. He says, "Abyss Flames!" This is where, well, both attacks right now smashes into each other, but the Abyss Flames managed to destroy the blast entirely. Right now smashing into, well, mostly Renji. Renji was screaming in pain thanks to the flames being able to eat and destroy anything. This is where, well, mostly, what's it called? What Renji sees is an evilish smile appears on mostly Matsuri's face. Matsuri said, "Pathetic. You couldn't even do shit to me. Now it's time for me to bully you, pathetic weakling." This is where he then takes off his gauntlets away from his hand. He managed to kind of also, well, before taking off the gauntlets, he managed to summon out amethyst kind of like spears, or mostly like knives, small knives, and stabbing it into Renji's right arm. And this is where, well, making sure that it hits like these pressure points to make sure that he won't be able to use the sword again, and started just wailing on Renji's face, punching him over and over and over without missing a beat. Pa, pa, pa. This is where, well, he keeps punching him. This is where Renji was actually blacking out entirely. He can't do anything to Matsuri. Matsuri is like right now releasing all the anger, frustration, and right now pissed off anger that he had towards Renji. He said, "Die, die." This is where Viltra managed to snap him out and say, "Stop this. You realize that this was only a mission to only well, hurt them brutally, make them feel despair, not actually to kill them. Mostly right now, Mitsuri Master stops and says, "You're right. Oh God, I'm so sorry." This is where, well, Virtual says, "Wait, you're sorry for not killing them, or wait, what?" "No, I'm sorry for actually almost destroying this mission. I would have felt really bad for Momosi, our lord." This is where, well, we'll see, Viltra not. Okay, I guess that's one way to do that. Now, the girl. This is where, well, he noticed the girl's eyes were almost lifeless entirely. This is where, well, we'll see. Viltra says, "Should I destroy the curse from her?" "Yeah, do that." This is where Viltra does it. And of course, this is where, well, dispel the curse. And this is where Zenobia snaps back. But before she even snaps back and reacts, a powerful knee smashes into her, launching her straight into a tree, knocking her out. Pathetic. This is where, well, right now, Mitsuri walks away, kind of going to the Ancient Dragon. The Ancient Dragon makes a portal. He right now takes a picture of how mostly, mostly not a picture, a mental image, mostly to show his lord and how Mitsuri dealt with them, because he was there kind of watching all this. So of course, he just needs mostly his lord to know and how two of mostly the betrayers and the whores are now at, mostly probably to the breaking point of death. But yeah, because he has heard that mostly one of the other users of the evil dragons have also fought against Irina and even what's it called? Well, mostly Irina and her boyfriend Azul. But yeah, mostly the evil dragon, mostly the ancient and evil dragons do not need to go for them. Mostly even Zenobia and what's it called? Renji, because they already kind of beat the shit of. Now they just have only other members like Ria Scrimmer and whoever her boyfriend is. Akano and whoever her boyfriend is. Well, Akano Hinjima, whoever her boyfriend is. Mostly, yeah, you get the point. Ozzy Argento, whoever her boyfriend is. Probably with Sanji, they don't really know, who cares. Koniko Taiju, whoever her boyfriend is. Kuroka, pretty much Kuroka doesn't have a last name, but yeah. So yeah, whoever her boyfriend is, yeah, whatever. Next is Lefay Pendragon, whoever her boyfriend is, whatever. Then there's also, well, sorry for burping, but mostly then there is Raffle Phoenix and whoever her boyfriend is, and also Riser Phoenix because he was also a betrayer and this shit, so of course that's a thing. And of course also mostly Kiba, well yeah, Kiba, and well Gasper not really, because he wasn't really a betrayer in this one, because Gasper was actually with, well, mostly someone named Valerie, who actually was the vampire who actually took care of her. So of course he never did any of that, but yeah, he was mostly in the hospital. But Kiba was one of them, so a betrayer. So yeah, which mostly Issei is going to have to talk to Gasper and seeing if he is actually a betrayer or not, by seeing into his memories. But for right now, this is actually where I'm gonna leave it off for part 6 of this What If. Now, other than that, part 7 will be whenever, but other than that, bye, see you. I gotta go, bye, and yeah. I also gotta make myself a sandwich. Fuck, I forgot about that. Damn, what am I gonna eat when I go to school? Never mind, what am I doing? Bye, see you, yeah.